Well, I decided I'm going to change the oil in the Sprinter RV, and I have everything I need ready to go. So first of all, I've got the correct oil. This Mobil 1 Emission System Protection Oil 5W30 meets the Mercedes spec 229.52. So I need about 13 quarts. I went ahead and was able to get two 5-quart containers, which is less expensive than buying the 1-quart containers. These were $38 before tax. So I got two of those. Let's call it $80 of oil. I had some left over from the last oil change. So, I've got at least 13 quarts ready to go. I picked up a Wix oil filter. Prefer to use Wix when I can. So I got this off Amazon. I think it was about $11 to the door. And I also picked up the copper washer to go on the drain plug. Honestly, I don't normally do that, but I got 3 of them for a little over $4. And then I splurged because I often struggle with getting the filter cap off. And I bought this 84.4 millimeter oil filter wrench. This is kind of a high-end one. This is the Motive Tools. Another YouTuber had made a recommendation on this one. So I kind of reinvested some of my savings from doing this job myself and got some better tools to help with the oil filter. So that's ready to go, and I'll be using that for the first time. Also have a bucket because we're going to get about a good 3 gallons out of the engine. So this container happens to be the right height to fit under the engine. It'll slide right under the RV, underneath the drain pan. I don't have to, raise up the RV on ramps or anything. So that's very handy, and it'll handle the 3 gallons I got coming out. So that's it. I'm going to take the RV out for a little spin. We'll put some fuel in it. That'll warm up the engine oil, and then we'll go from there. Okay, we got her filled up. $76.64, $4.29 a gallon. That's not bad for Pennsylvania. Let's go home. All right, I got my dirty clothes on because the Lord knows I'm going to get filthy. Every time I change oil, I get filthy. Doesn't matter what vehicle it is. I got all my stuff ready, got my creeper ready, got my lights set up. I'm going to give you a real quick tour of where things are here inside this engine bay, if you're not familiar. This is the dipstick for checking the oil, this red one, okay? This is where we fill it with oil. Just want you to realize that the oil pan is straight back down here. So actually from underneath, it's very easy to get access to it. And the other thing I want to point out is right here is where the filter is. So it's a separate element. You don't actually replace this. This is a cover. So, we take that off. There's an element in there that gets replaced. All right, let's get underneath. Okay, down on the ground. Here's the front bumper, just kind of give you an orientation. So, come down underneath. This is all body stuff here. And as soon as I get underneath, I'm actually staring at the oil pan. So there's the oil pan. Right there in the middle of the picture is the drain plug. And my bucket is right here, ready to go. You can see it fits under there real nice. So let's get the wrench. Okay, so the correct wrench or socket is a 13 millimeter. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. There we go. Once I break it loose, I have both a rag and I put a glove on in case this oil's hot. The trick here is do not drop the plug in the bucket because that's going to make it tougher. It's loose. Here we go. And as usual, got some nice oil coming out of there. My hand. There's no such thing as changing oil without getting some on you. So it's best to be dressed properly. And this is a diesel engine, so the oil is black. When I pulled the drain plug off, I noticed there was no copper washer on it. But when I was cleaning up the oil, I found it laying on the floor. So I think what's important here is that it fits over that properly. So the Dorman parts I got fit over fine. I don't know that this being as wide as it is really any kind of issue, as long as I have good clearance. So that's what I'll use to put back on it. But this is what they call these kind of a crush washer, because when you tighten them, the copper gives a little bit. Apparently creates a better seal. So, well, while we're waiting for that oil to drain, it's been a few minutes since we started it. We can move on to the filter. The filter is kind of in the top of the engine, so the oil drains out of the filter pretty quick. This, you're looking down here, this white label is that cover on the oil filter. You see on what I did on this wrench, this happens to be a 3/8 inch socket connection. So I put a swivel on there and I have an extension. And that just helps that I don't have to remove any of this air intake stuff. I can just work around it. So I'll get my wrench on here. In theory, we can pop this thing off of here. Yep, that does the trick. Nice. So one of the reasons I've normally struggled with this using traditional approach is that cover is on there pretty snug because it's a heavy, before I pull that out of there, I'll get my rag. Oh, I got my rag right here. Put my rag down here. All right, let's get the wrench out of the way first. Too much stuff in there. Now we can get the filter out. Here it comes. There it is. So this is the element that we're going to replace right here. So let's take this over the bench. All right, so here we are. Get my glove. Should be able to just pull this off of here. So this is the element we're going to replace. Now, I'm going to just wipe this off on the outside. Let me throw this away. Actually, I'll wait till I've got my this Wix filter box empty. I can stick it in there. So here's the new one. And we also get a couple of O-rings. I'll show you what you do with those. Put this in the box and throw it in the trash. All right, you still there? Hopefully you can see this. There's two O-rings that we're going to replace. First of all, right in here where this goes in, there's an O-ring in this one of this. Here, this is the O-ring right here. Okay. You see, it looks like it's in the second the second piece here. So I just use a little pick. In this case, it's kind of some kind of a file, but I just work it off like that. Now, there's also an O-ring right here. So we're going to do the same thing. Try and get under that. Pull it up a little bit. Take that off. We can get our new one, our new O-rings. Let's start with the little one, and that just goes over this. Goes on there. Get the bigger one. That one goes around here. And you can kind of see it's a much wider slot here. So that's where that O-ring goes. There you go. Then we just put our filter. Doesn't appear to be a top or bottom. There you go. Just push it down till it's seated. Now we're ready to put that back in. We can throw this away. So I'm just going to screw that back in. I won't take you along for that ride. I think you understand. It's just the reverse of what I already did. All right, so that's done. Got the new filter in. Now I'm really grateful I got that new wrench, because I remember how much I struggled with both loosening and tightening that the last time. I mean, probably spent most of my time on that last time. So I'm going to go ahead and climb underneath, check to see if the oil is finished draining, and then put this drain plug back on. Well, there you go. You can see that bucket is kind of perfect size. Not too big, not too small. That black, really black oil, that's normal for a diesel. And it looks like that after you've driven 100 miles, you know, with a fresh oil change. Let the filling begin.
Can't do it left-handed. Make a mess.
Okay, so I put in 5 quarts, 5 quarts, 2 quarts. I need one more to go. Well, it should be 13 quarts. So at this point, I'm gonna wipe up my little spill here. Put the cap back on here. Then I will start it up, let it run a little bit. I'll look underneath, make sure there's no oil leaking out of my drain plug. I can look down here, run my filter, make sure there's nothing, no leaking going on down there. And we should be done. I'll check the oil level again at that point just to make sure it's right on the dipstick, and we're done. Okay, started it up, ran it, had my flashlight, just checked everywhere. I don't see any oil leaks, certainly not the filter. Went underneath, drain plug is completely dry. That's all good. Just check the level here. There we go. Supposed to be between the two. We are. So there you go. If you like videos like this, really would appreciate you subscribing to the channel if you're not already. If you are a subscriber, I appreciate you following along. Give us a like. Worth mentioning, I'm going to recycle this scummy oil. I'm going to dump it into a 5-gallon can I use for waste oil, and then I'll haul it over to my auto parts store some year. Here's a tip. I have a storage box I keep all my parts, spare parts and things I had from the RV, which includes the Sprinter. I just put my wrench in there, and I have put those extra washers there, but oh my God, you could tell I haven't been here, because here I have an oil filter all ready to go. I didn't have to buy another one. Oh, gosh darn it. Also got a fuel filter ready to go, so that'll be another project coming up here at some point. I'm not really sure it's due to do that yet, but that's it. See ya.